With reference to Asiatic caracal, sometimes mentioned in the news, consider the following statements. Is it a it is a okay. The caracal is a species of wildcat that has long legs, a short face, long canine teeth, and distinctive ears. Okay, long and pointy with the tufts of black hair at their tips. The iconic ears are what give the animal its name. Caracal comes from the Turkish kara kulak, means black ears. In India, it is called siyagosh, a Persia name that translates as black ear. A Sanskrit fable exists about a small wild cat named Dhirga Karan or long eared. Statement 1 is correct. Okay. It is a cat species. Okay. It is added recovery program for the critically endangered species in India. Yeah, okay. It is added to the recovery program for critically endangered species in India. The National Board for Wildlife and Union Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change in March 2021 included the caracal, a medium-sized wildcat found in parts of Rajasthan and Gujarat, in the list of critically endangered species, though not under grave threat in its other habitats. The animal is on the verge of extinction in India. Some experts believe the recovery program for critically endangered species in India now includes 22 wildlife species. Okay. Besides India, the caracal found in several dozen countries across Africa, the Middle East, Central and South Asia. While it flourishes in parts of Africa, its numbers in Asia are declining. Okay. With reference to International Convention Against Doping in Sport, consider the following statement. With reference to International Convention on Doping. Currently, it is the second most ratified of all the UNESCO treaties. A fund for the elimination of doping in sports is created, which is voluntary in nature. Unlike the convention, the World Anti-Doping Code applies only to sports organizations. Okay. Consider the following. Okay, 3 complete ఇలా మొత్తం చదవాలని ఇచ్చినారు. 1 and 2 1 2 okay, 2 pairs. Lionfish, Interpol, Garuda, CBI. Operation Lionfish led by Interpol. The Lionfish model of operations targets drug trafficking along air, land and maritime routes, resulting in major seizures and fresh intelligence. First held in Latin America in 2013, it has proven highly successful and has since expanded to other regions of the world. Operation Lionfish is supported by external funding. It is a fundamental part of Project AMEAP Africa. Operation Lionfish is supported by external funding. It is a fundamental part of Project AMEP Africa, Middle East to Asia Pacific, which coordinates initiatives against drug trafficking with funding by the Interpol Foundation for a Safer World under the United Arab Emirates, supporting from the cocaine route program for of the European Union helps cover other regions. The Central Bureau of Investigation (CBI) has launched a multi-phase operation Garuda to dismantle drug networks with international linkages. The CBI is doing this in close coordination with enforcement actions across international jurisdictions through Interpol and Narcotics Control Bureau with special focus on Indian Ocean region. Operation Garuda seeks to target drug networks with international footprints for action against handlers, operatives, production zones, and supports elements. During the operation, searches, seizures, and arrests were carried out across multiple states and union territories in the country. Apart from CBI and Narcotics Control Bureau, 8 states and union territory police including Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Delhi, and Manipur have also participated in this operation. Around 6,600 persons were checked and 127 new cases have been registered. Around 175 persons including 6 absconders and proclaimed offenders were arrested. Operation Trishul was launched by the Central Bureau of Investigation (CBI) with the aim of bringing fugitives involved in criminal activities back to India. The operation's objectives is to locate both fugitives and the proceeds of crimes with the help of Interpol and bring them back. Under this operation, CBI coordinated with the national central bureaus of other nations to make the process of extradition more streamlined. Almost 33 fugitives have been brought back under this operation, including infamous personalities like Mohammad Hanifa and Harchand Singh Gill. As Russia's invasion into Ukraine has left its major cities including its capital Kyiv under siege, India is making efforts to evacuate its citizens stuck in the war-torn country. Operation Ganga is the initiative launched by the government of India to bring back Indians stranded in Ukraine. Under this, India has already successfully brought back more than 1,000 of its nationals from the country. It has also set up 24/7 control centers to assist in the evacuation of Indians through the border crossing points with Hungary, Poland, Romania, and Slovak Republic. Okay. The world's largest policing organization is officially making its 100-year anniversary with reference to the International Criminal Police Commission (Interpol). Consider the following statements. It is an intergovernmental organization that enables countries to share and access data on crimes and criminals. Okay. It provides a platform for cooperation even between countries that do not have diplomatic relations. No. The day-to-day activities are coordinated by the General Secretariat, which is staffed by police only. It released Global Crime Trend Report to highlight the current and emerging crime and terrorism trends. Fourth, correct? Third कर रहा हूँ. Okay. It provides a platform for cooperation even between countries that do not have diplomatic relations. Okay. It releases Global Crime Trend Report to highlight the current and emerging crime and terrorism trends. It is an intergovernmental organization that enables countries to share and access data on crimes and criminals. It releases Global Crime Trend Report to highlight the current and emerging crime and terrorism trends. It provides a platform for cooperation even between countries that do not have diplomatic relations. Which of the following organizations release Poverty and Shared Prosperity Report? Poverty and Shared Prosperity Report. World Bank. Which one of the following organizations releases the Poverty and Shared Prosperity Report? The World Bank's Poverty and Shared Prosperity series provides the latest estimates and trends in global poverty and shared prosperity. The report analyzes how fiscal policy was used in the first year of the pandemic to support the most vulnerable groups. It also sheds light on the impact of taxes, transfers, and subsidies on poverty and inequality in 94 countries before 2020, providing important new insights into the impacts of fiscal policy not only during crisis but also during normal conditions. With reference to online child sexual abuse and exploitation, prevention or investigation unit, consider the following statements. It is a special unit set up by Interpol under a special crime zone. India joined Interpol's International Child Sexual Exploitation Database in 2022. The Central Bureau of Investigation has set up an online child sexual abuse and exploitation prevention or investigation unit at New Delhi. Central Bureau of Investigation (CBI). Under its special crime zone, the newly specialized unit will collect and disseminate information regarding publication, transmission, creation, collection, seeking, browsing, downloading, advertising, promoting, exchanging, distribution of information relating to online child sexual abuse and exploitation. International Child Sexual Exploitation Image and Video Database is an intelligence and investigative tool which allows specialized investigators to share data on cases of child abuse. Using image and video comparison software, investigators are instantly able to make connections between victims, abusers, and places. The database avoids duplication of effort and save precious time by letting investigators know whether a series of images has already been discovered or identified in another country, or whether it has similar features to other images. It also allows specialized investigators from more than 68 countries to exchange information and share data with their colleagues across the world. In July 2022, India became a 68th country to join Interpol's International Child Sexual Exploitation Database. Speed chesi. According to Representation of People Act, prisoners do not have voting rights in which of the following elections? Prisoners do not have voting rights. Prisoners do not have voting rights in which of the following elections? General elections, assembly elections and general and okay kada. Local body elections, Rajya Sabha elections, 21st. Okay. General elections, assembly elections, local body elections, Rajya Sabha elections. Representation of People Act, prisoners do not have voting rights in which of the following? Okay. Regarding the voting rights of the prisoners, according to section 62 clause 5 of the Representation of People Act 1951, no person shall vote at any election if he is confined in person, whether under a sentence, imprisonment or transportation or otherwise, or is in the lawful custody of the police. Nothing in this subsection shall apply to a person subjected to preventive detention under any law for the time being in force. Consider the following statements with reference to gig economy. Gig economy. Consider the following statement with reference to the recent report released by Niti Aayog on gig economy in India. Not correct. Okay, one correct. The report says gig workers in India are expected to grow 2.35 crore by 2029 to 2030. With reference to Stop TB Tuberculosis Partnership, it is an initiative by the Government of India to eliminate tuberculosis as a public health problem. India has committed to eliminate TB in the country by 2025, 5 years ahead of the global deadline of 2030. India has committed to eliminate TB in the country by 2025, 5 years ahead of the global headline of 2030. The term greenium, often heard in the news, refers to which of the following statements? The additional cost for investors in choosing a clean technology over another for sustainable impact. The term greenium, often heard in the news, refers to which of the following statements? The additional cost for investors in choosing a clean technology over another for sustainable impact. The term greenium, often heard in the news, refer to which of the following statements? Okay, question కూడా ఇచ్చేసాడా? The additional cost for investors in choosing a clean technology over another for sustainable impact. The term greenium describes the idea that investors are willing to pay a premium to hold a green bond rather than a conventional bond, as they are willing to accept lower monetary returns in exchange for supporting environment benefiting activities. It refers to pricing benefits based on the logic that investors are willing to pay extra or accept lower yields in exchange for sustainable impact. Himro weaves from Hyderabad. Toda embroidery and Sungadi from Tamil Nadu. Sungadi. Banda tie and dye weaving from Sambalpur in Odisha. Chamba rumals from Himachal Pradesh. Sikal Nayakanpet Kalamkari from Tanjavur. Which of the above mentioned textiles crafts are included in the UNESCO's list of 50 iconic Indian heritage textile crafts? Himro weaves from Hyderabad, correct. Toda embroidery and Sungadi from Tamil Nadu, correct. Banda tie and dye weaving from Sambalpur in Odisha, correct. Chamba rumals from Himachal Pradesh, correct. Sikal Nayakanpet Kalamkari from Tanjavur, okay. With reference to Special Marriage Act 1954, consider the following statements. Special Marriage Act 29. The act allows peoples from two different religious backgrounds to get married. The act allows people from two different religious backgrounds to get married. Special Marriage Act 1954. A marriage under the Special Marriage Act 1954 allows people from two different religious backgrounds to come together in the bond of marriage. The Special Marriage Act 1954 extends to all Indian states and Indian nationals living in their countries. Individuals of diverse faiths such as Muslims, Hindus, Parsis, Sikhs or Christians can marry under this act. The act applies not only to interreligious or intercaste marriages or love marriages but also to intra-faith marriages. It provides an option to register marriages performed in accordance with the couple's personal laws. Being a secular act, it plays a key role in liberating individuals from traditional marriage requirements. The Special Marriage Act of 1954 lays down the procedure for both solemnization and registration of marriage where either the husband or wife or both are not Hindus, Buddhists, Jains or Sikhs. So statement 1 is correct. Before the marriage, registration of marriage, the Special Marriage Act of 1954 lays down the procedure for both solemnization and registration of marriage where either the husband or wife or both are not Hindus, Buddhists, Jains or Sikhs. So statement okay. Before the marriage is solemnized, the parties and 3 witnesses must sign a declaration form before the marriage officer. Once the declaration is accepted, the parties will be given a certification of marriage, essentially proof of the marriage. According to the Act Section Clause 5, the couple must give the marriage officer a notice with the relevant documents 30 days before the intended marriage date. However, while this process has been enabled online, the couple must visit the marriage officer to solemnize the marriage. Niti Aayog, Government of India, in collaboration with United Nations Food Programme WPF, India is launching the Mapping and Exchange of Good Practices MEGP initiative, which aims to map and exchange the best practices for millet mainstreaming in Asia and Africa. The initiative will support the documentation of good practices and lessons learned and present an opportunity for experience sharing amongst Asian and African developing countries. Millets can grow on arid lands with minimal inputs and are resilient to change in climate. They are therefore an ideal solution for countries to increase self-sufficiency and reduce reliance on imported cereal grains. Millets can grow on arid lands with minimal inputs and are resilient to changes in climate. They are therefore an ideal solution for countries to increase self-sufficiency and reduce reliance on imported cereal grains in collaboration with the United Nations World Food Programme. The mapping and exchange of good practices initiative is associated with the millet production. The mapping and exchange of good practices initiative is associated with the millet production. Mm, 27. Owing to their high nutritional value, the Government of India renamed millets Nutri-Cereals. Which of the following are the advantages of promoting millet cultivation? Requires less fertile land or water, high shelf life, gluten free, used in both food and fodder, survive extreme weather, low carbon and short growing season, low carbon. Okay, 27th option B. 2, 3, 4 and 5 only na. Sorry. 2, low carbon and water footprint, requires less fertile and land water. Okay, high shelf life, gluten free. మిల్లెట్స్ ఫుడర్గా కూడా యూజ్ చేస్తారు కదా, చేయరా? సారీ ఆప్షన్ సి 1, 2, 3, 4 లేదా? అదే కదా, కన్ఫ్యూజ్ అయ్యాం. With reference to social impact bonds, consider the following statements. It lays down outcome based targets to the achieved at the start of the contract. Which of the following statements is or correct about the prevention of sexual harassment at the Workspace Act? Sexual harassment at the workspace. It is mandatory for every workplace with more than 10 employees to establish an internal complaints committee ICC to handle sexual harassment complaints. ICC must be headed by a woman. At least half of ICC members must be women. Consider the following features. It is the world's tallest flying bird. It is listed as vulnerable on the IUCN list. It is an omnivorous bird. It is the official state bird of Uttar Pradesh. Okay. Sarah's crane. Okay. Recently, a 35-year-old man, Mandaka, Uttar Pradesh, was booked under the Wildlife Protection Act 1972 for illegally keeping and nursing an injured Sarah's crane. Grus Antigone he founded in his village. Sarah's crane is usually found in wetlands, and is the official state bird of Uttar Pradesh, standing at 152 to 156 centimeters. It is the world's tallest flying bird. It has a predominantly grey plumage with naked red head and upper neck and pale red legs. It weighted 6.8 to 7.8 kgs. It is listed Schedule 4 of the Wildlife Protection Act 1972 as a vulnerable on IUCN Red List. Sarus crane is an omnivorous bird and feeds on gleaned in stubbles, green shoots and grasses and cereals, tubers and corns of marsh plants, frogs, fish, lizards, grasshoppers and other large insects. In the context of lithium reserves in India, consider the following statements. According to United Nations Framework Classification for Resources, there are 4 stages in surveying resources. Recent exploration of lithium in Jammu and Kashmir comes under the G3 level of surveying, which means preliminary exploration. This reserve will add up to India's lithium reserves already found in Uttar Pradesh. Second is correct. 38. 1 or 2 correct. Statements 1 and 2. According to United Nations Framework Classification for Resources, there are 4 stages in surveying resources. 4 stages in surveying resources. Currently, no lithium reserves has been found in the state of Uttar Pradesh. Okay. According to the Ministry of Mines, the GSI has carried out 19 projects in the last 5 years on lithium and associated elements. Of these, 3 of the projects have progressed from the G4 to the G3 level and 1 to G2. These are the Reasi district of J&K, the newly discovered estimate, and the Sirohi district and Nagpur district of Rajasthan. Okay. Which of the above mentioned UN organizations has appointed the Controller and Auditor General of India as their external auditor? UN organizations has appointed the ఇది కొంచెం ఇంట్రెస్టింగ్ క్వశ్చన్ లాగా ఉంది. ఆప్షన్ డి ఈజ్ కరెక్టా? ఓయమ్మ. ఫుడ్ అండ్ అగ్రికల్చరల్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్ FAO, వరల్డ్ హెల్త్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్ WHO, ఇంటర్నేషనల్ మారిటైమ్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్ IMO, ఆర్గనైజేషన్ ఫర్ ప్రొహిబిషన్ ఆఫ్ కెమికల్ వెపన్స్ OPCW, ఇంటర్నేషనల్ లేబర్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్ ILO, ఇంటర్నేషనల్ అటామిక్ ఎనర్జీ ఏజెన్సీ, వరల్డ్ ఇంటలెక్చువల్ ప్రాపర్టీ ఆర్గనైజేషన్. Article 148 of the Indian Constitution provides for an independent office of the Controller and Auditor General of India, appointed by the President of India by a warrant under his hand and seal. The Controller and Auditor General of India had also been appointed as the external auditor for various UN organizations such as International Atomic Energy Agency IAEA 2022 to 27, Food and Agricultural Organization 2020 to 2025, World Health Organization Geneva 2020 to 2023, Organization for Prohibition of Chemical Weapons Hague 2021 to 2023, Inter-Parliamentary Union Geneva 2020 to 2022, International Labour Organization ILO Geneva 2024 to 2027, International Maritime Organization London 2000 to 2012, International Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology ICGEB, Trieste, Italy 1996 to 2004, World Food Program 2010 to 2016, International Organization for Migration Grand Sacnos, Switzerland 2010 to 16, World Intellectual Property Organization Geneva, Switzerland 2012 to 2017. Cox's appointment is a recognition of its standing among the international community, its professionalism, high standards, global audit experience, and strong national credentials. Chala powerful. Consider the following statements about the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Wildlife Protection Act 1972. If anyone acquires possession of any wildlife, that must it to the nearest police station, that must report it to the nearest police station or authorized officer within 48 hours. Correct. If a person is found in possession of any wildlife, the burden of proof for establishing that it is illegal lies on the authorities. Only a fine can be imposed on the person and criminal proceedings cannot be initiated if they violate these provisions. No, third one is wrong. So రెండు ఎలిమినేట్ అయిపోతాయి. 35th స్టేట్మెంట్ 1 ఈజ్ కరెక్ట్. 2 అంటే ఇప్పుడు 2, 3 ఇక్కడ ఎలిమినేట్, 1, 3 ఇక్కడ ఎలిమినేట్ అవుతుంది. ఓకే, ఇక్కడ 1 and 3 ఓన్లీ, 1 and 3 ఓన్లీ అని ఇచ్చారు, ఇక్కడ 1 ఓన్లీ అని ఇచ్చారు. సో ఇదే మెన్షన్ 1 ఓన్లీ. ఇఫ్ ఎనీ వన్ అక్వైర్స్ పొసెషన్ of any wildlife, they must report it to the nearest police station or the authorized officer within 48 hours. Which of the following statements clearly explains the term Ostro account which was recently in the news? It is an account that bank holds in a foreign currency in another bank. It is a demat account in a foreign bank to raise funds in a foreign country. It is a current account maintained by a ఏది కరెక్ట్ అన్నీ చదవడం అవసరమా? It is an account that a domestic bank holds for a foreign bank in the domestic bank's currency. It is an account that a domestic bank holds for a foreign bank in the domestic bank's currency. Acha. Consider the following statements about the ChatGPT. ChatGPT was developed by OpenAI, which is the artificial intelligence arm of Google. Not correct. Google the bird kada. Bird edo. It is based on the general pre-trained transformer architecture, a state-of-the-art neural network model used for natural language processing. Correct. Italy became the first country to ban ChatGPT. Correct. Statement 2 is correct. Okay, Italy wrong. Okay. First country kada. Italy became the first European country in the West to ban ChatGPT. The Italian Data Protection Authority banned ChatGPT due to concerns over the illegal collections of personal data and the lack of guardrails to prevent minors from using the ChatGPT chatbot. The Italian privacy watchdog said it has imposed a temporary but immediate restriction on ChatGPT to stop them from processing the data of Italian users. Further, Italy's privacy watchdog plans to investigate whether the chatbot breaches the European Union's General Data Protection Regulation (GDPR). Before Italy, countries in other parts of the world like North Korea, Iran, Russia and China have made OpenAI's generative AI tool inaccessible within its border due to various concerns. ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence AI chatbot developed by OpenAI, which runs on an Azure-based supercomputing platform from Microsoft. It is not the artificial intelligence arm of Google. ChatGPT is based on transform architecture and pre-trained on a large database of human-generated text. It can be used for NLP tasks such as text generation, language translation, and human text summarization. ChatGPT is a state-of-the-art natural language processing NLP model that uses neural network architecture and unsupervised learning to generate responses. This means that it can learn to generate responses without needing to be explicitly told what the correct response is, which make it a powerful tool for handling wide range of conversational tasks. Lumpy skin disease is caused by the lumpy skin disease virus, which belongs to the genus Caprioxyvirus. Is a part of the poxviridae family. Smallpox and monkeypox viruses are also part of the same family. The LSDV shares antigenic similarities with the sheeppox virus and the goatpox virus. Are similar to the immune response to those viruses. It is not a zoonotic virus, means the disease cannot spread to humans. It is a contagious vector-borne disease spread by vectors like mosquitoes, some biting flies and ticks, and usually affects the host animals like cows and water buffaloes. National Center for Veterinary Type Culture ICAR, National Research Center on Equines, Hisar, Haryana, in collaboration with ICAR Indian Veterinary Research Institute, Izzat Nagar developed a homologous live attenuated LSD vaccine named Lumpy Provac. Lumpy Pro vaccine is safe in animals and induces LSDV specific antibody and cell mediated immune response. Besides proving complete protection against lethal LSDV challenge, Lumpy Provac is used for the prophylactic immunization of animals against lumpy skin disease, which elicit protection for about 1 year. A single dose of the vaccine contains 10 to the power of 3.5 TCID50 of live attenuated LSDV Ranchi strain. The reconstitution. The vaccine is stored at 4 degrees centigrade. The vaccine must be shipped on ice, must be used within a few hours after reconstitution. The patent has been filed by the ICAR for the technology. Thus, Lumpy Provac India is not inactivated vaccine. The Union Ministry of Fisheries and Animal Husbandry and Dairying informed that the goatpox vaccine is very effective against LSD and is being used across affected states to contain the spread. Animal may develop large firm nodules of 5 cm in diameter in the skin. Depression, anorexia, rhinitis, conjunctivitis, excess salivation. Necrotic lesions can develop in respiratory and gastrointestinal tract. With reference to charu muzzle, sometimes mentioned in the news. Charu muzzella. ఇదేంటి పప్పుచారా యూట్యూబ్లో చూసాం కదా, ఈరోజు చేసుకుందామా? ఏం చేసుకుందాం ఈరోజు? చేసుకుందాం, మ్యాగీ చేసుకుందాం, అయిపోద్ది తొందరగా. Statement 2 is correct, statement 3 is correct, statement 1 is correct. Okay. It is an invasive species. It is edible. Its rapid growth in the backwaters of Kerala is triggered by cyclone Oki. It is rapid growth in the backwaters of Kerala is triggered by cyclone Oki. It is invasive. It is an invasive species. Explanation is important అనిపిస్తుంది. Eternally, the charu muzzle resembles the green and brown muzzles kallu meka in Malayalam, but much smaller in size. Its color varies from black to brown, purple or dark green. In many areas, this invasive species has smoothed beds of the short neck clam Manza kakka in Astamudi Lake. The charu muzzle established breeding population in 2018 and 19, acquiring the moniker Vartan kaka. The short-necked clam fisheries in the lake had obtained an eco label from the Maritime Stewardship Council, and about 3,000 people are dependent on fisheries here. In such a scenario, the fast-breeding charu muzzle could be seen as a pest. Charu muzzle is being a smaller muzzle is edible, but its economic loss and its impact on biodiversity is much bigger compared to its lucrativeness, as it has the potential to outcome the lucrative clam fishery. The rapid spread of the charu muzzle Mitella strigata may have been triggered by cyclone Oki, which struck in the region in 2017, according to a paper published in the Journal of Aquatic Biology and Fisheries. Cyclone Oki may have simply sped up their invasion of inland waters. Survey shows the preference of the charu muzzle in the Kadinamkulam, Paravur, Edava Nadayara, Astamudi, Kayamkulam, Vembanad, Chettua and Ponani estuaries backwaters. Astamudi Lake, a Ramsar site in the Kollam district, remains the worst hit, with a population is as high as 11,384 per square meter. Here it has replaced the Asian green mussel and the edible oyster Magellana bilineatia. సైంటిఫిక్ నేస్తే కొంచెం కష్టం, ఇట్లాంటివి అడుగుతారు యూపీఎస్సీలో. ఓకే అయినా సరే చదువుదాం, అడిగితే అడగని, అందుకే దాన్ని యూపీఎస్సీ అంటారా బాబు. విచ్ ఆఫ్ ద ఫాలోయింగ్ ఛాలెంజెస్ ఆర్ అసోసియేటెడ్ విత్ శాటిలైట్ బేస్డ్ ఇంటర్నెట్ సర్వీస్? శాటిలైట్ బేస్డ్ ఇంటర్నెట్ సర్వీస్. ఓకే, ఛాలెంజెస్ ఓకే, ఛాలెంజెస్ ఏముంటాయి ఇంటర్నెట్? 1, 3, 4 and 5. 1, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, very slow internet speed, limited satellite bandwidth, increased space debris, increased light pollution from space. The Coffee Board of India is statutory organization under the Coffee Act of 1942 and functions under the administrative control of the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. అందుకే బ్రెడ్ తినద్దురా ఈ టైంలో అని చెప్పా. ఎవడైనా పొద్దున్న 4 గంటలకు బ్రెడ్ తింటాడా? Statement 3 is correct. The board mainly focuses on its activities in the areas of research, extension, development, market intelligence and welfare measures. During the 1940s, the coffee industry in India was in a desperate state due to the Second World War, resulting in very low prices and ravage of pests and diseases. At this time, the government of India established the Coffee Board through a constitutional act, Coffee Act 7 of 1942, under the administrative control of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. The board comprises 33 members, including the chairman and the chief executive appointed by the government of India. The remaining 32 members represent various interests such as the coffee growing industry, coffee traders trade interest, curing establishments, interests of labor and consumers, representatives of governments of the principal coffee growing states and members of parliament. And the head office of the Coffee Board is situated in Bangalore. Coffee Board is situated in Bangalore. Okay, Coffee Board serves as the friend, philosopher and guide to coffee sector, covering the entire value chain. The core activities are primarily directed towards research and development, technology transfer, quality improvement, extending development support to growing sector and promoting coffee in export and domestic markets. The activities of the board are broadly aimed at enhancement of production, productivity and quality, the export promotion for achieving higher value returns for Indian coffee, supporting the development of the domestic market. The Hague Convention on the civil aspects of international child abduction is an international treaty that establishes procedures for the prompt return of child wrongfully retained and are removed from their habitual residence. The Geneva Convention was adopted in 1949 in the backdrop of World War II. However, the 4 Geneva Conventions with 3 protocols added since 1977 continue to apply today to situations of armed conflicts. The Geneva Conventions has been ratified by 196 states, including all UN member states. The 3 protocols have been ratified by 174, 169 and 79 states respectively. The Vienna Convention for the Protection of the Ozone Layer was adopted in 1985 and entered into force 1988. In 2009, the Vienna Convention became the first convention of any kind to achieve universal endorsement. The objectives of the convention were for parties to adopt legislation or administrative measures against activities that are likely to have adverse effects on the ozone layer. This would be achieved through systematic observations, research and information exchange. The Vienna Convention did not require countries to take concrete actions to control ozone depleting substance. The Stockholm Convention is a global treaty to protect human health and the environment from persistent organic pollutants. The Stockholm Convention entered into force in 2004. UNIDO, United Nations Industrial Development Organization, is also responsible for supporting developing countries and countries with economies in transition to implement the Stockholm Convention. The Prime Minister recently inaugurated the Sri Mahakal Lok corridor at Ujjain. Which of the following statements are correct regarding the Mahakaleshwar temple? కాళిదాస ఆన్సర్ చూసి చదువుకోవడం బెటర్. ఇది భవన్పల్లి. The Mahakal temple finds mentioned in several ancient Indian poetic texts. Kalidasa in Raghuvansham described this temple as Niketana. The place of the king had been in the vicinity of the temple. The palace of the king had been in the vicinity of the temple. In the early part of the Megha Dutam, Purva Megha, Kalidasa describes the Mahakala temple. It is spires on the temples prior to the Gupta period. Puranas say that Lord Shiva pierced the world as an endless pillar of light called the Jyotirlinga. There were 12 Jyotirlinga sites in India considered a manifestation of Shiva. Besides Mahakal, this includes Somnath and Nageshwar in Gujarat, Mallikarjuna in Andhra Pradesh, Omkareshwar in Madhya Pradesh, Kedarnath, 12 Jyotirlinga sites. Kedarnath in Uttarakhand, Bhima Shankar, Triambakeshwar and Grishneshwar in Maharashtra, Vishwanath at Varanasi, Baidyanath in Jharkhand, Rameshwar in Tamil Nadu, Somanath and Nageshwar in Gujarat, Mallikarjuna in Andhra Pradesh, Omkareshwar in Madhya Pradesh, Kedarnath in Uttarakhand, Bhima Shankar, Triambakeshwar and Grishneshwar in Maharashtra, Vishwanath at Varanasi, Baidyanath in Jharkhand, Rameshwar in Tamil Nadu. Mahakal is the only Jyotirlinga facing the south, while all other Jyotirlingas faces east. This is because the direction of death is believed to be the south. The direction of the death is believed to be the south. People worship Mahakaleshwar to prevent ultimately death. In the 13th century, the temple complex was destroyed by Turuk ruler Iltutmish during his raid on Ujjain. The present 5-storied structure were built by the Maratha General Ranoji Shinde in 1734 in the Bhumiza, Chalukya and Maratha styles of architecture. A century later, its markable walkways were restored by the Scindias. In the 18th century, an observatory was built here by Maharaja Jai Singh II, known as the Vedashala or Jantar Mantar, comprising 13 architectural instruments to measure astronomical phenomena. The Ramagundam floating solar PV project is the country's largest floating solar power plant in Telangana, which has a total capacity of 100 megawatts. With the operationalization of the 100 megawatt solar PV project at Ramagundam, the total commercial operation of floating solar capacity in the southern region rose to 217 megawatts. The park has advanced technology as well as environment friendly features. The James Webb Telescope, sometimes called JWST or Webb, is a large infrared telescope with an approximately 6.5 meter primary mirror. The James Webb Telescope is an international collaboration between the National Aeronautics and Space Administration (NASA), the European Space Agency and the Canadian Space Agency. Webb was formerly known as the Next Generation Space Telescope (NGST). It was renamed in September 2002 after a former NASA administrator. James Webb, the NASA Goddard Space Flight Center managed the development effort. First దానికి ఆన్సర్. Kalidasa gave a description of Mahakal temples in his work Meghaduta. Correct. The ideal in Mahakaleshwar is the only Jyotirlinga in India facing the north direction. Wrong. The present 5-storied structure was built by Maratha Ranoji Shinde in 1734. Okay, correct. Correct. 1 and 3. Consider the following statements with reference to waste to energy converting technologies. Polycrack technology converts feedstocks into hydrocarbon, liquid fuels, gas, carbon and water. The One Health Joint Plan of Action 2022 to 2026 was launched by which of the following organizations? The One Health Joint Plan of Action. The One Health Joint Plan of Action. FAO, UNEP, WHO, World Organization for Animal Health. The One Health Joint Plan of Action 2022-2026 was launched by which of the following organizations? FAO, UNEP, WHO, World Organization for Animal Health. One Health is an integrated, unifying approach that aims to sustainably balance and optimize the health of humans, animals, plants and ecosystems. Recently, the One Health Joint Plan of Action 2022-2026 was launched by the quadripartite between the Food and Agricultural Organizations of the United Nations FAO, the United Nations Environment Program UNEP, the World Health Organization WHO and the World Organization for Animal Health WOAH. The One Health Joint Plan of Action 2022-2026 is the first joint plan on One Health that aims to create a framework to integrate systems and capacity to collectively better prevent, predict, detect and respond to health threats. Scalp crystal maze recently seen in the media related to which of the following? Scalp crystal maze. Air to surface missile system. Air to surface missile system. Scalp crystal maze. Crystal maze. Air to surface. Air to surface. Digital payments in India have been growing rapidly. The Reserve Bank announced the construction of a composite Reserve Bank of India Digital Payments Index RBI DPI in March 2018 to capture the extent of digitization of payments across the country. The DPI would be based on multiple parameters and shall reflect accurately the penetration and deepening of various digital payment modes. Thus, it is the sole initiative of RBI and it is not released by Niti Aayog in coordination with the Ministry of Finance. RBI decided to push the digital payments index semi-annually from March 2021 onwards with a lag of 4 months. The base period of the RBI to DPI digital payments index has been set up as March 2018 at a score of 100. The country The DPI index comprises 5 broad parameters to evaluate the penetration of digital payments in the country. Thus, December 2016 was not taken as the base year for its calculation for the digital payments index. The newly constituted RBS digital payment index stood at 349.3 in March 2022 against 304 in September 2021 and 270.6% in March 2021. The RBI to DPI index has demonstrated significant growth and represented the rapid adoption and deepening the digital payments across the country in recent years. Free legal aid is the protection of free legal services in civil and criminal matters for those poor and marginalized people who cannot afford the services of a lawyer for the conduct of a case for a legal proceeding in any court, tribunal or authority. These services are governed by the Legal Services Authorities Act of 1987 and are headed by the National Legal Services Authority (NALSA). The sections of the society as enlisted under Section 12 of the Legal Services Authorities Act are entitled to free legal services, and they are a member of a scheduled caste or scheduled tribe but not a member who belongs to OBC, a victim of trafficking in human being or beggar as referred to in Article 23 of the Constitution, a woman or child, a mentally ill or otherwise disabled person, a person under circumstances of undeserved want such as being a victim of a mass disaster, ethnic violence, caste atrocity, flood, drought, earthquake or industrial disaster, or an industrial workman in custody, including custody in a protective home within the meaning of Clause G of Section 2 of the Immoral Traffic Prevention Act 1956, or in a physiatric hospital or a physiatric nursing home within the meaning of Clause G of Section 2 of the Mental Health Act 1987, or a person whose yearly income is less than 25,000 rupees if the case is before a court other than Supreme Court is less than 50,000 if the case is before the Supreme Court. A person whose yearly income is less than 25,000 if the case is before a court other than Supreme Court, and less than 50,000 rupees if the case is before the Supreme Court. Yearly income, yearly. Roshni, India's first saline water lantern, is a technology that uses seawater as an electrolyte between specially designed electrodes to power light emitting diodes lamps. The lantern will bring the poor and needy people ease of living, particularly the fishing community which lives along India's longest coastal line. Notably, India's three sided surrounded by the oceans, and around 30% of the nation's population living in coastal areas and coastal regions play a major economic factor. It supports fisheries and aquaculture, tourism, livelihoods, and the blue trade. Zooxanthellate corals are a group of corals that do not contain zooxanthellae and derive nourishment not from the sun but from capturing different plankton. These groups of corals are deep sea representatives, with most species reporting from 200 meters to 100 meters. Their occurrences are also reported in shallow coastal waters. Scientists have recorded four species of azooxanthellate corals for the first time from Indian waters. These new corals are found in the waters of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The four species corals are from the same family, Flabellidae. Okay. Asola Batti Wildlife Sanctuary. Asola Batti Wildlife Sanctuary covers 32.71 square kilometers area on the southern Delhi ridge of the Aravalli Hills range on the Delhi to Haryana border. Lies in southern Delhi and north parts of Faridabad and Gurugram districts of Haryana state. Construction of artificial waterfalls and floating fountains in Neeli Jheel is underway at the heart of the Asola Batti Wildlife Sanctuary. To boost ecotourism, the waterfalls and the fountains are being developed by the Territorial Army in coordination with the Forest Department. Ekalavya Model Residential School shortages. Okay. Budgets. Okay. బాగున్నాయి క్వశ్చన్స్. Tokenization refers to the replacement of actual card details with a unique alternate code called the token, which shall be unique for a combination of cards. The token requester, that is the entity which accepts request from the customer for tokenization for a card and passes it on to the card network to issue a corresponding token on the device. A tokenized card transaction is considered safer as an actual card details are not shared with the merchant during transaction processing. The actual card data, token and other relevant details are stored securely by the authorized card networks. The token requester cannot store prime account number, PAN or any other card details. Card networks are also mandated to get the token requester certified for safety and security that conforms to international best practices or globally accepted standards. As per the Reserve Bank of India, the customer need not to pay any charges for availing of service under tokenization. Under tokenization. Okay. రెస్ట్ తీసుకుందాం. బ్రెయిన్లోకి వెళ్ళాలి కదా.